Hello, everybody. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Wherever you are watching, this is the VA Home Show. I'm David Serpa. This is Amy Serpa. This is Tobie Love. And we're very excited to be bringing you probably the most important show that I have been a part of for veterans. A lot of veterans are looking for that standoff. They're looking for different ways that they could use their VA home show, their VA home loan. And as I was going through the notes in the beginning of the show, I was getting an education from Tobie. My mind is just blown right now, and I'm rethinking my house in the suburbs right now. I'm thinking about what I can do to get on some acreage. So we're going to jump into this, and I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to talk about buying with your VA home loan, which we did a basic show on that last week as our first episode. We're going to talk about buying multi-residential, up to 4 units. We're going to talk about VA home construction to perm, how you can buy on land and build on land, getting a mobile on land. And a lot of people don't know that you can do that. You don't have to leave California. You can go out to Awonga or Anza or Winchester and get a little bit of standoff and put a mobile on it. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. The VA rehabilitation loan. A lot of you are looking in areas where a lot of homes cannot pass VA. That's why we're going to talk about the VA rehabilitation loan. It evens that platform, makes it so that you have that possibility. And of course, we're going to talk about investing and becoming a landlord. So that's everything that we are going to talk about. So if you need to buy or sell real estate anywhere in the country and you're looking for an awesome realtor, let us know. We will hook you up with an awesome real estate agent. And if you need a loan, reach out to Miss Tobie Love and Cross Country Mortgage. Yes. We're here in the Tobie Love Studios, Cross Country Mortgage here. Yes. And welcome, everybody. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about your VA loan. Yes. One of the first things that you said last, or actually on the open house show, you said, do not disqualify yourself. Yep. That's one of the biggest problems that people have. I bought as a Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps in E3, buying with your VA loan.
Yeah. So that's something that I really get behind is, I have so many clients that walk in this office and they just say, there's no way I can qualify. I can't do this. And lo and behold, 90% of the time they walk out with a pre-approval letter in hand. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there, especially with the VA loan. VA loan is one of the loans that the debt to income ratios can be a little higher. They're more flexible on the guidelines. So if there's any loan out there that you can qualify for, VA loan is definitely something that you have to look at. You can't just say, I can't do this. I don't deserve to do this, because you do deserve to buy a house and you deserve to at least look into what it is that you qualify for.
And what a lot of veterans, they reach out and they say, hey, listen, my FICO score isn't what it needs to be, or I don't know if my credit is very good. And there's a lot of room here. There's a lot of possibilities when you get that loan to where you can, settle down a little bit there, darling. If there's a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different ways that you can use the loan. So make sure that you do not disqualify yourself. The second thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about here is I just got done talking to an EOD tech over the weekend, and he was talking about buying multi-residential. And of course, with the VA loan limits going away, now you're in a situation to where if you can qualify for it, you can get it.
That's right.
So can you buy a 20 structure unit? No, you cannot buy a 20 structure unit. But what are some of the limitations here with the VA loan and buying multi-residential?
So 1 to 4 units. So that, there's a lot of options out there for that. Here's one of the little cool things that I love about this part of the VA loan is that if you are buying a 1 to 4 unit and you're going to be collecting rent from those other pieces, that can offset the payment, which would help you qualify. So that's a pretty awesome piece of this puzzle.
Yes.
So something that let's just look at it side by side. Like you qualify for a certain amount on a single family residence, and then you look at a 1 to 4 unit, and you do have to live in one of the units, but you can use the rent from the other units to offset the payment, which would then allow you to qualify for a little bit more.
And what's interesting about this is that you only have to live in one of the units for a year. So that means if you buy around Camp Pendleton, there's a lot of people that VRBO is taking off like crazy.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Could you imagine buying a 4 unit and outside of Oceanside and then VRBOing the other 3 units? There's a lot of opportunities out there to buy,
Yep.
and there's a lot of bases that are around excellent areas. I think of Florida and all the great Air Force bases out there.
Yeah, the Panhandle would be
Yeah.
a great spot
Yeah.
to build your wealth through real estate out
Yeah.
there.
And then what you do is you buy the 4 units, you
Mhm.
live in the 1 unit,
Mhm.
and then you are renting out the other 3 units. And a lot of times you are not just breaking even;
Mhm.
those other units are paying for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe even a little additional on top of that.
That's right.
So-
And I don't want to overpromise here,
I know,
but
yeah.
what I do want to tell you is it is a great thing because a lot of people are living in a situation where they're like, hey, listen, I don't want to live in a huge house or
Mhm.
whatnot. I'm only going to be here for so long. I'm gone for so long. I don't want my wife and my kids out in the middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
And then if you're in a situation like that, buying multi-unit where you have built-in renters because you're next to a military base,
Yeah.
where you can leave and then turn around and rent out all 4 units when you go to your next duty station, and then free up your VA loan and use it again.
Mhm.
So lots of opportunities there. And the next thing that I want to talk about, is there anything that you want to mention else about that?
No,
Okay.
I think it's just something that everybody needs to know about.
This is the most interesting one here.
Mhm.
And this is the one that I was just like, I cannot believe that is a possibility.
Mhm.
You're saying the VA home construction to perm.
Yes.
Mind blown.
Yes.
I barely even know where to start here. Okay, so if you want land,
Mhm.
if you want to buy land,
Mhm.
put a mobile on that land,
Mhm.
or buy land, build a house on that land.
Mhm.
This is the program that you would use. Can you tell me a little bit more about the
Yes.
VA home construction to perm?
Yes. So it is an awesome program. It hasn't, I think it's been around for a long time, but not many investors have been getting behind it. And now they are starting to get behind it because there's a lot of true value there. So you can buy the land,
Mm-hmm.
and let's just go land, manufactured home first. We'll break it
Sure.
down into 3 pieces. Okay. So land, manufactured home. So you go, you pick the land, you figure out everything that it needs. Does it need to be graded? Does it need utilities? What is everything that needs to happen with this particular piece of land? And then you pick out the home that's going to go on it, the manufactured home that's going to go on it. You get an all-inclusive price of everything that needs to be done. And then it's a one-time close, VA construction to perm. And the loan covers the land, the manufactured home, and all of the things that have to be done with that particular land to bring it up to par to be lived on.
Just from a real estate perspective,
Mhm.
if you were to do something like this, does the loan fund after everything is built, or does the loan fund and then everyone gets paid out and then the construction starts?
So there's 4 draws.
Mm-hmm.
So the loan funds, and the first thing that gets paid off is the land. So
Okay.
the land's said and done, right? Gone. You own the land. And now then in the other 3 draws that are broken up, delivery, different pieces, depending on what is needed for that specific property, depends on how those contractors get paid out through the process. The very last draw goes after everything, and there's the certificate to occupy
So,
issued.
and then, so those funds are actually held in escrow?
Mhm.
Okay, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so that's, if you were to buy a piece of land, know what land you want, and if you want to put a mobile on it, that's what you would do.
Yep.
Now, what else? What is a different way that you could use it?
So same concept, stick built. A
Mhm.
little more in depth. It's going to take a little bit more time
Mhm.
to build a stick built home. So there's some longer periods for those type of construction loans. But again, you're going to pick the land, figure out everything that needs to be done with it. You're going to have obviously an architect design the home, all the pieces that you need with that, and then same 4 draws, and it goes from there. There's a contractor that's involved with that. There's a contractor with either of those situations, but the contractor on the stick build is going to be a little more in depth than the one on the manufactured home because there's more moving pieces, moving parts.
And just an FYI for those of you that have looked into doing something like this, I looked into building, and the cost of building is significantly more than you might think. So that's why one of the things that people are really looking into is these mobiles, and there's some nice mobiles
Mhm.
that you can find
Oh my gosh,
that are
yeah.
out there that just really look beautiful.
To be honest with you, I've actually thought about this process for myself
That's what I'm thinking about right
because
now.
I would love to have I mean, I love the home that we're in. Love it. But it would be so nice. I mean, we have an indoor petting zoo. We have 8 guinea pigs, 2 snakes, 2 leopard geckos, and a dog.
Good
So
man.
that's
I
great.
could totally visualize us having, pigs,
A little
and
farm.
goats, and my kids love that stuff. So
That's awesome.
so that's kind of what I
We've
think about.
actually discussed the idea, and I've talked with several veterans that want to buy some land,
Mhm.
have the mobile, and then build other houses on the
Yes. Oh my
land
God.
and have their family come on or other veterans.
Family compound.
That's
That-
right,
the family
exactly. That's
compound.
where I'm going with this. You
I was
guys.
literally getting ready to just go ahead and
Yes.
change the title here to family compound.
My husband and I have talked about that for years, and that's how you
Mhm.
start. This is how you start.
That's
This is the
right.
starting point.
Yep. Get
So-
your mobile on the land and then start building it out from there.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
so if you're just now tuning in, the VA home construction to perm is the way that you would set up your family compound if you wanted to do something like that. Now, of course, buying a 10,000 square foot lot in the middle of the suburbs, is that going to be zoned multi-residential? Maybe not. Maybe not. But so you're going to look into what it is zoned.
Yep.
And so if it is zoned RR, that means that you can have a house that is equal size or smaller than the main house.
Mhm.
If it is zone R2, that means 2 structures. If it's agricultural, you may want to look at something else. But there's a lot of different possibilities out there. And there are also a lot of different opportunities to buy because this area is developing very rapidly.
Yep.
And land is, in my opinion, right now being undervalued,
Mhm.
specifically in Southern California.
Yeah.
If you've been paying attention, and I'm not going to get too political here, but what's happened is there was a massive land grab that happened with a lot of the cannabis stuff that was happening.
Mhm.
And then what happened was in Awanga and in Anza, they started going on raids and then making it on a lot of these foreign raids that were shutting down these larger pieces of land that were being misused. And so what happened was land value kind of went down because of the new law in cannabis that makes it possible makes it very difficult for these small grows that were existing out in Nawanga or in Anza that were going out to local dispensaries and whatnot.
Mhm.
So land went down in value. People were selling like crazy. And what happened is there is now a bunch of land available out there. And if you don't want to leave California,
Mhm.
but you want a family compound,
Mhm.
you might want to look in Awanga, Anza, Fallbrook, Rainbow, freaking all these different places where there are good possibilities for that
Yep.
because of the fact that land has come down a little bit in value and it's going to come up in value because you live in freaking California.
There's also a lot of USDA agricultural land out there in
Mhm.
French Valley as well, in Winchester.
Mhm.
It's another option to possibly consider.
Yeah. So, okay. So we talked about lots of different ways that you can make that family compound happen, whether it is a mobile, whether it is a VA home construction. We've got it says, hi dear, how are you doing today? I don't know. Are we talking to me? Am I dear? I might be dear. Maybe it's me. Okay. So we've got a lot of different types of programs that we're discussing right now.
Mhm.
The VA home construction to perm was the last one. This next one, we're going to jump right back into just the VA home loan.
Mhm.
Now, what a lot of you don't realize is that you don't necessarily have to buy in the suburbs. You can buy a existing mobile on land.
Mhm.
It just has to be built by when? What was the
June 15th, 1976.
June 15th, 1976.
Mhm.
So if you want to buy a mobile on land, that's just the VA home loan.
Mhm.
It's not a specific program. It is not it's not a special type of loan. It just has to be built after June
15th.
1976.
Mhm.
And then you could use your regular VA home loan to get that mobile.
Yep.
Now, one of the things that's really interesting out there, if you see a mobile and it may not pass the stink test, and it may not pass the stink test,
Mhm.
the VA might not lend on it. Then maybe what you can do is you could look into the VA rehabilitation loan.
Yep.
Or the VA construction of perm, bouncing back to that.
Right.
So where there's a will, there is a way.
Mhm.
And if you want to buy a house and you want to buy on a specific piece of land, looking at what is the way to make that possible.
Mhm.
Is it a tear down
Mhm.
and then putting in a new mobile?
Yep.
That's possible. Can you
Possible.
qualify for
Yep.
it? Is it taking the existing one and rehabilitating it.
Yep.
You can do that too.
Yep.
If you are buying in a lot of these classic areas, a lot of these older areas,
Mhm.
there are homes like in Oceanside. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There are homes in Oceanside that they cannot pass VA right now.
No.
But that being said, and I'm going to change the title of this here to the VA Rehab Loan. If you are looking at it and maybe it needs new windows in order to pass VA, or maybe it needs a new roof, or maybe it needs to be gutted.
Yeah.
What you do is you go to the VA,
Mhm.
you talk to a lender, you
Yep.
find out what you can qualify for.
Yep.
You tell them that you are interested in the VA rehabilitation loan.
Mhm.
Now, the process is a little bit different here, of
Mhm.
course, with the escrow and the holdbacks and everything.
Mhm.
But what is the process like once somebody finds that house
Mhm.
that needs a little bit of TLC?
So basically, so they find the house, and so let's say that you're the real estate agent. You and the client are going to figure out what you're going to offer on the home.
Mhm.
Before that, you probably want to do some due diligence to figure out all the things that need to happen, because then there's a little something that's different on the renovation loans. You have to have what they call a total acquisition cost.
Mhm.
The total acquisition cost is going to be the purchase of the home and all of the repairs. So what you offer is what you offer. And then what? Why are you laughing?
Sorry, you said, I'm talking with the woman's my friend. I saw the response. I had to put it up. So, all right. So I'm not dear, but going back to the VA rehab loan.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so total acquisition cost, that's going to be the price of the home and
Mhm.
all of the repairs. So a little bit different, but then it still works pretty much the same way with the escrow holdbacks and the disbursements and the draws and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Just depends on the amount,
Mhm.
and then the repairs themselves.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So that's the VA rehabilitation loan. And then what happens is, you go in, you see this house, and maybe it looks like a piece of junk, but it's in the neighborhood that you want to be in. It's under budget. No one's bidding on it. Maybe you go in and use the VA rehabilitation loan. There's also a possibility, like I talked about, tear downs out there that have been existing for a while, and maybe you want to tear down and put up an existing mobile. That's also VA rehabilitation loan. The last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is just the traditional way to use your VA loan, which is hold. Okay, so you use your VA loan, hold that property,
Mhm.
and instead of selling it every time that you go to your next duty station or when you get out,
Mhm.
rent it out.
Yep.
Rent it out.
So many different things you can do in that particular scenario. I mean, like, this is some wealth building strategy that is behind that.
Mhm.
So many different ways and options. I have those conversations almost daily with active duty, with veterans, because
Interesting.
I think the mind goes directly to, oh, okay, we got to sell and buy. Well, wait a minute. No, you don't have to do that.
That's right.
That is an option.
Mhm.
100%. That is an option. But let's look at these other options that you may have. And so that's my favorite part of the job, right? Is figuring that part all out. What options do you have? What option works best? What's going to build you the most wealth over time? Well, what if you do this? What if you do that? So there are so many pieces. So you have to kind of look at it with an open mind.
Which, like, honestly, I know a lot about the VA loan, but
Mhm.
today, I feel like I know so much that at any given time, if somebody comes up in front of me, I might overwhelm them with options. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
genuinely, like,
Yeah.
there's so many different things that you can do here.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so good night. Look, my head's gonna blow up.
It's inspirational because there's so many options.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think people get stuck in, like, you can only do it just this one way. I mean, I don't say people, I mean, us included,
Mhm.
but there's so many different ways that you can skin a cat, I guess, is the easiest thing to
Sure.
say.
That's right.
So,
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is David Serpa. And before we sign off, what I want to do is I want to give a little bit of love to our nonprofit business or nonprofit of the week, which is the PATH program out there in Boulder Crest. These guys are out there really taking care of warriors, really taking care of veterans, and helping them get themselves right so they can be better for them and their families. So their motto is healing one family at a time. And I think that that's really important because we forget that it is a group process. So if you guys want to reach out, if you are struggling and you want to reach out to Boulder Crest, they've got a couple of different locations. The one that I went to was out in Arizona, and good people out there, lots of good people. Thank you guys so much for watching the VA Home Show.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
We're
Oh my gosh. Christmas will be done next week when we do our show.
I know. This is the one.
Yeah, so geez, are we gonna be back next week? Are we taking a week off?
Well, I'll be here if you guys will be here.
Okay. So hey,
We'll decide.
thank you guys so much for watching the VA Home Show. If you enjoyed this, please like our page, share this out to people that might need it. One of the biggest issues that veterans have, that active duty members have, is finding a great real estate agent. So let us hook you up with a great realtor. Let Tobie Love Cross Country Mortgage hook you up with a loan and answer the many questions that you might have about the VA loan process. We talked about buying a home in the suburbs like everybody else. We talked about whether or not you want to hold that or rent it out. We discussed multi-residential, buying 4 units, living in one of them for a year, and then continuing to rent them out. We talked about the VA home construction to perm and the many different ways in which you can do that. We talked about using your VA home loan to buy a mobile on land and the possibilities of that go along with developing that family compound that we were discussing. We discussed investing and, of course, becoming a landlord. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, share this out to anyone that you feel might enjoy it. And please tune in because we may or may not be back next week. If not, we'll see you in January. Thank you guys for watching. Everybody have a great weekend.
Yay.